Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason with MasonWorks Marketing and Conscious Business Zone today with Peter Goldstein. Hi, Peter.
Hello, Kathy. So good to see you.
Yeah, this is great. So we're lucky that technology decided to work today. It didn't work a week ago. So we're going to share, hopefully, and really get people excited about what you're offering in a week or so, or actually this week. So, Peter, do you want to explain a little bit about your journey? Peter has a company called Hippocrates Docs, which works with 30 doctors that he basically is an advocate for them and helps get their work out in the world because they're busy working with patients, but they have so much more to offer than, well, not that that's not important, but even more to offer. So could you talk about Hippocrates Doc first, Peter, and then go on, and then we'll talk about your event?
Certainly, Kathy, it'd be my privilege to do that. So my work is really about helping people change their health and empowering people to make the decisions about lifestyle and food that supports their well-being. And to be able to do that, there's a lot of information. There's a specific diet, as it were, but we don't like calling it a diet. It's a very simple set of foods to eat and a set of foods to avoid. and this is all proven by doctors. So for probably 3 decades or longer, there have been doctors and scientific and nutritional research that has proven, evidence-based proven, that food does make a difference. It's, if you want to think about it a little bit like, well, we would never put kerosene in our gas tank and expect our car to run. How would we expect to put foods that are proven to be poisoning our bodies to support us to a healthy, long life? And these doctors understand that, and the research is there, and there's literally tons and tons, tens of thousands of studies done by doctors, done by researchers that prove that certain foods are beneficial, certain foods fuel our bodies, certain foods support our immune system and give our immune system the ammunition to take care of our bodies. And these doctors, so it's been shown by these doctors in their research that if we change our diet and change our lifestyle, we could save as much as 86% of our healthcare costs and all that pain and suffering that goes with it.
Wow.
86%. Absolutely, Kathy. This is amazing and unbelievable that the fuel, that if we stop putting kerosene into our bodies, we can actually thrive and be healthy. And Dr. Furman, we have identified 7 original heroes of this movement. Dr. Furman is one of the 7, and his research shows that the human body is actually designed to live to be about 100 on average, and for us to pretty much die overnight. So this thing that we have in our culture today, where people at end of life, almost everybody has a chronic disease. At the end of life, people will go a decade, 10 years or longer with some chronic disease, whether it's cancer or diabetes or cardiovascular disease. And these are the doctors. So the doctors that we're working with are the doctors who practice food as medicine, who practice lifestyle as medicine. And my mission and my passion is to help get the word out, because unfortunately we're in a culture where the food industry that that creates the foods that cause these diseases and keep us from being healthy. The food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, they have huge budgets to promote their food and their products. And unfortunately, the industry that does produce the healthy foods like kale and celery and the fruits and vegetables that promote our health, that industry doesn't really have the kinds of budget. But that's our work. Our work is Hippocrates Docs, and it is Hippocrates because Hippocrates is the father of Western medicine in ancient Greece, and we quote him as saying, "Let food be thy medicine." And so way back in ancient Greece, the father of Western medicine got it. He knew that we fuel our body with nutrition, with food. And so our passion, Hippocrates Docs, so we're helping synergize and amplify the voices of those doctors who are practicing food as medicine, as Hippocrates had initially set out.
Well, I think I've heard you mention before something about that to get an MD, you don't have to take any classes in nutrition. Is that correct?
You know, I'm really glad to say that's not 100% correct anymore.
Oh, okay.
And I'm being a little bit sarcastic here. The fact is that most doctors today have never had a nutrition class, and it's really sad. And the really great news in it, though, is that that's changing. So slowly, there are more doctors who are getting some nutrition. There's movements, and there are doctors and people who are actually on a crusade to get medical schools to add nutrition to their program. So that's changing. Everything is a little too slow to change. For those of us who know the answers, we get impatient. But yeah, it's amazing. Most doctors have not had a single class in nutrition, and I'm glad to say that that's changing.
Oh, good. So when we talk about health and food is medicine, there's other components, and I know that you're in a collaboration right now with Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Do you want to talk a little bit about that connection with Hippocrates Doc?
Sure, absolutely. Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine is absolutely a leader in this movement, and Dr. Barnard is the head of it, and it's been his vision and his work, and it's just a phenomenal, substantial organization at this point. It's a nonprofit. They publish amazing work. They're constantly supporting people in being healthy, and nutrition's at the center of it. And I must add that Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, or PCRM, and their website is pcrm.org. They're also rooted in the vegan approach on this, the vegan perspective, which is about animal rights. So PCRM has also been a leader against animal cruelty and against animal abuse. This work is all about, one big pillar in this lifestyle is to stay away from animal proteins. There's huge amounts of research that show that animal proteins cause cancer and plant proteins help reverse cancer. Dr. Campbell, who's another one of the 7 original heroes, in this landmark, I guess, documentary that I recommend everybody watch, Forks Over Knives, and that's been around for a while, and it's a fundamental works in this movement. And Dr. Campbell is part of it, as is Dr. Esselstyn. But Dr. Campbell, decades ago, and he still is, a PhD researcher in nutrition at Cornell University. And in the documentary, in his work, he was doing work on cancer cells, laboratory work in petri dishes with cancer cells. And his research showed him that cancer cells thrive on animal protein and they die from plant protein.
Wow.
And go deeper and beyond that, we'll find that animal proteins cause inflammation, plant proteins alkalize, animal proteins are acidic. If you look at any of our health, any aspect of it, fundamentally in all disease, you'll find inflammation, in arthritis and cancer, and all, pretty much any disease, anything that's harming us, you'll find that inflammation is part of it. And at the foundations of inflammation is acidity and alkalinity. So alkalinity is what we want. We want to be alkaline, and acidic is what the standard American diet causes our bodies to be acidic and causes inflammation. And it's so amazing that with this lifestyle, people find immediate relief. So somebody who has aches and pains, changing from an animal protein-based diet to a plant protein-based diet, they find relief from arthritis and aches and pains fairly quickly.
What do you mean fairly quickly? Is it a 2-week and being very good about it?
Well, it is. Well, the better you are about it, the quicker it is. And I'm not a doctor, and I cannot make medical claims here, but my observation from what I've seen in research, and it really depends on how severe it is. I mean, somebody who's disabled by arthritic pain, it may take them a little more, and somebody who just has aches and pains and isn't really disabled in a big way, they'll notice a difference much quicker. But 2 weeks, I'm not going to argue with 2 weeks. I think somebody who switches, and whether it's aches and pains is one of the first things, but if somebody takes 2 weeks to switch to a plant-based, whole foods, plant-based, no added salt, sugar, and oil diet, and that's what we're talking about here is whole foods, plant-based, no added salt, sugar, and oil. Switch to that lifestyle, people get a huge difference in 2 to 4 weeks. And there's research that shows, and this is absolutely amazing, that type 2 diabetes, for example, is almost 100%, practically 100% reversible. Wow. So and people see that within 2 weeks. So within 2 weeks, somebody who's diabetic, most people who are diabetic, they make this lifestyle change within 2 weeks, and a lot quicker even, they'll start seeing a difference.
Wow. So I know for PCRM, they have an initiative, Let's Beat Breast Cancer, and they've got 4 components. So food's one of them, drinking more water, less
actually, alcohol. If I may, Kathy, it's right? Drinking less alcohol.
Well, I think it is one of the 4.
Alcohol, weight management, exercise, and food are the 4 components.
Right.
But absolutely, drinking water is essential, and hydrating is critical. Our bodies need that hydration, and most people don't drink enough water. And right. And in our work with Hippocrates Docs, we have shown that. So our mission is to help introduce people who are curious about this lifestyle. Our mission is to introduce those folks to the solution to all the chronic diseases, pretty much everything. The top 15 killers, at least before COVID, the top 15 killers were managed, reversed, prevented with this lifestyle. And we've had doctors in our programs who, 2 of them who have actually reversed lupus for themselves.
Wow.
I mean, Western medicine has no clue how to deal with lupus. We have 2 doctors who talk about it. It's an immune disease, autoimmune disease, but even lupus, everything, all the diseases, heart disease is the top killer. Cancer is the second. 1 out of 7 women get 1 out of 8 women get breast cancer, and the other 7 worry about it. It's a huge impact in our lives, and that's actually probably should talk a little more about that, because that's the current focus on our work this week, because we are producing a breast cancer summit which will premiere on Friday and will be available online through the rest of the month, premiering Friday. We have 14 sessions with 17 doctors talking about different aspects of lifestyle and breast cancer, and really great information that would benefit everybody. Anybody who's concerned about breast cancer or knows anybody who's concerned about breast cancer really needs to be exposed to this information.
Well, I think it's rare to get one doctor on the phone or get to learn from one doctor, but to learn from this many. And I'll put up the poster in just a second, but I wanted to ask about what you've learned from doing this summit from these people, because I'm sure the focus on breast cancer has brought a lot of new things to light about whole food, plant-based diets.
Well, the information is deep. There's just so much information and a ton of it, and it is the focus is breast cancer, and the magic of it is that it's across the board, and it's across the board, and it supports breast cancer because we end up fueling our body, our immune system, giving our immune system the ammunition to take care of our bodies. We have this amazing immune system that's ever so powerful, and to give it the right ammunition is what this is about. And with breast cancer, one of the most amazing things, and I think that's coming back to your questions, I get focused and answer your questions. But one of the things that has been just so amazing to me that I've learned recently is that we're starting to see 12-year-old girls with breast cancer. That breast cancer is linked to milk consumption, to the hormones and antibiotics in the milk, and to the other animal proteins. And animal proteins cause cancer, and then the milk that we feed our children and drink as adults is incredibly dangerous for us. And unfortunately, the milk industry is very powerful. And another thing I've learned recently that's mind-boggling for me is that the milk industry has $250 million a year in their marketing budget. So this isn't an individual milk company that's out there advertising their product. This is the industry spends $250 million a year to convince people that the milk does a body good. And it's absolutely, there's this, all the scientific facts, all the research says that that's absolutely not true. Milk does a body a lot of damage. There's no other species on Earth where another species consumes the milk of another species. Humans are to be, because newborn babies are to be consuming human milk. And cow milk is unnatural, and cow milk is wrong for us.
Well, I think that what I have read over and over again was that the way that our food is produced, and using the factory manufacturing model, it causes, they do whatever they can to increase the growth rate. And so there's a lot of antibiotics in the meat and probably in the milk as well. And then growth hormones. And of course, if you look at us, I mean, it's okay if we get taller, but we don't want to get wider. So, well, and you think about heart disease and all the ways that your system is taxed by us having more weight on our bodies.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely taxed. And I mean, just once and it's my pleasure, my passion to introduce people who are curious about this to the information. I mean, that's really my mission is to introduce because I'm not a doctor. I don't do this research, but the research is deep. It's amazing. It's profound, and and just to find this, you asked before about noticing a difference, changing this lifestyle, noticing a difference in 2 weeks. Well, Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. Ornish are the leaders in heart disease aspect. I mean, all these doctors are totally on it and can totally advise people, but doing the research, and they've been doing it for decades now, but specifically Dr. Esselstyn with the Cleveland Clinic, he's done, at first he did a study with 30 patients whose doctors have totally given up on them. And sent them home. They've had the bypass surgeries. They had all the procedures they can have. Their cardiologist said, sorry, no more. And they came to Dr. Esselstyn. And Dr. Esselstyn put them on a very strict version of this whole foods plant-based diet. And every one of them who followed the diet, and all but one or two, I believe, did, they didn't die in 6 months like their cardiologist would have predicted. They were thriving decades later. And the 2-week thing that you asked about, changing this lifestyle, he claims, and he has research to back it up, he claims that somebody can become heart attack proof in 3 days. So going on his, and he's a little stricter than anybody else, going on his strict lifestyle, his strict diet, and he has in 3 days, and he has the evidence to back it up. He gets into all the details of the science and the endothelial layer within our blood vessels, our arteries, and how, what disrupts that, what causes it to break, and he will show you that the whole research on it. And the bottom line is that in 3 days, if you're concerned about a heart attack, take a look at Dr. Esselstyn's work, do his lifestyle, his diet, and he claims that in 3 days, you don't have to worry about a heart attack anymore.
Wow. Wow.
So 2 weeks is actually 2 weeks, you asked about 2 weeks. 2 weeks is a really long time.
Well, I remember I had a reaction to a Thai remedy that had me do a lot of ginger. It was powdered ginger and water, and I was doing way too much, and I had such a healing crisis that I was getting like cysts on my skin. It was scary. And I went on a plant-based diet of making green soup and smoothies and everything, making really sure that I stayed clean, and it was gone in a couple of days. So I know that when you help your body get back into balance, when you're out of balance of alkaline and acid, you can really, it doesn't take long, but it is a discipline. What do you say, Peter, about the addictive foods, though? I mean, potato chips are addicting. There's a lot of foods that are intended to be addicting. What do you say about that for those of us not disciplined?
Absolutely. Well, and there's the whole psychology aspect to this, and it's I dare say that we're brainwashed. The food industry, the thinking in our culture, we're brainwashed into thinking that there's certain things that are undesirable and unwanted, but that's just our thoughts. And eating plant-based, I absolutely promise you that once you really get a look at it, the foods that are plant-based are way tastier than the food in our culture, because plant-based meals are very heavy. Not that they're heavy on spice, but they're welcome all the different spices. So we can find our favorite foods that are much tastier than the standard American diet. So it's really a change in mindset, in knowing that we can have something that's really satisfying, and then the journey of finding it. And then it's not a question of giving things up and suffering through it. It's really not. It's a fun pleasure to eat healthy because there's great options. And then, of course, our bodies are constantly saying, "Thank you, thank you. I'm feeling great. My vitality, I'm feeling awesome. So give me more of the good stuff."
Right, right.
But,
I think it is. If you're aware of your body, you can sense right away, oh, I need more greens. Or, I mean, you can almost sense what your body needs if you're aware. But the first part is getting aware and choosing without guilt. And if you miss a little bit, well, isn't that part of Hippocrates Doc that you have the just one thing for health system? Do you want to explain that, please?
absolutely, it'd be my pleasure. So we believe that the average American has gotten to where we've been in our lifestyle and our diet through decades. I mean, it's taken us decades of our lives to get to where we are. And a lot of this is like smoking. So a lot of people have used to smoke way back when smoking was the thing to do. And a small percentage of people were able to just put down their cigarettes and never go back to it. And most people took time to change that habit, that one habit. So here we are with foods, and foods are designed sometimes to be addictive. You've alluded to the potato chips, and in fact, I can get into a whole thing here where the food industry has scientists on staff whose jobs are to design foods so that it triggers the pleasure trap. It triggers the endorphins, or the chemicals in our brains, the pleasure point, to trigger that so that we keep wanting more and more of their food. So you can't just eat a French fry. You have to have a large fry and 3 double cheeseburgers and a supersized cola to go with it. And that's by design. And so it's taken us decades of being exposed to that kind of brainwashing. So our theory, our concept, our approach is that, well, if it took us decades to get there, how about if we take baby steps to start undoing it? So we have a program, and it's a free program that we welcome people to sign up for. It's called Just One Thing for Health, where once a week we release a different habit, a new habit. It's all doctor-based, so we have a doctor challenging the participant to try on one new habit a week, with the expectation that we do this one new habit, it becomes a habit. Next week we add another habit, week later another habit, and pretty soon we have a different lifestyle. Pretty soon people start realizing how great it feels, how beneficial it is, and then they'd be ready to say, okay, this is too slow for me. I want more of it. Give me all of it. I'm ready to totally change my life. So Just One Thing for Health is a free program that we've designed with our contributing physicians. Everything we do, we're Hippocrates Docs. Everything we do is from the perspective of evidence-based medical advice, and so we want to introduce you to the medical advice that's evidence-based, and with Just One Thing for Health, it's a simple concept of, try one new habit a week and build a new lifestyle, and before you know it, you've got it.
Right. And I think baby steps. I like that idea. Plus, I've been trying to not use oil. I like my olive oil, and cooking with water. I mean, there's a lot of fun, innovative ways to make food that actually digests better. You don't use all your energy to digest and actually need a nap after you eat. You actually feel energized afterwards, right?
Absolutely. And so oils, for instance, it takes a little different approach in cooking, but there's a lot of resources to help us learn that we can cook without oil, because the fact is that that oil is highly processed. We want to stay away from processed foods. Oil has pretty much no nutritional value. A tablespoon, a teaspoon of oil has huge amounts of calories. Once the oil gets into our blood system, it just clogs and slows down our blood system. So all of a sudden we put these speed bumps. We have our blood system that's there to deliver the nutrients, to support the immune system and all its work, and to deliver the good stuff to all the cells and take away the garbage. So all of a sudden, we put the brakes on by putting oil into our blood system. It slows everything down. And then our organs have to work extra hard because now the priority is to clean up the blood system.
Well, I have a question though, because I always thought, and I have been taking oils for brain health. I thought that oils were needed to have high functioning brain.
Absolutely. Oils are very important for that, and it's part of the good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. So there's good cholesterol, and oils is where that comes from. And you're absolutely right. However, the point here is how much oil and what kind of oil. So yes, our brains, we absolutely need oils, and the research shows that the oils we need, we get from a handful of walnuts.
Oh.
And so the
like a brain.
Pardon me?
Walnuts kind of look like a brain.
They look like, exactly. There you go. Yeah, nature telling us what we really need to be doing. But that's the research. The research says, yes, absolutely, for brain health, we need oils, and absolutely, that doesn't mean teaspoons of olive oil. That means a handful of nuts. That means put seeds on your salad. That means have a little bit of nuts and a little bit. But what most people think of in terms of oil is it's way too much, and it's not the ones that have the nutrients. And part of this whole lifestyle then also is the whole foods part. So eating walnuts or eating nuts, it's eating the whole food. It's and the whole food concept is really incredible, because when we eat the whole nut, we get the fiber, we get the other nutrients that are there, and a whole food has different components that synergize and deliver more health and more support for our immune system than taking any of those components out.
Okay, can you explain more? Because does that mean that the peel on the apple, what does it mean when you're saying, like with nuts, you don't eat the shell? So
well, that's right, you don't eat the shell.
So what is
Well, you don't want to take the oil out of a walnut. You want to eat the whole thing.
Okay.
And for example, with fruits, juicing gets us the nutrients, but doesn't get us the fiber.
Mm-hmm.
So eating an orange or drinking orange juice, the biggest difference there is the glycemic index. So what happens is when we drink a glass of orange juice, we get all that sugar rushes into our blood system and into our bodies. When we eat the whole orange and get the fiber, all the sugar and everything is released at a whole different rate. And so the health difference between orange juice and eating an orange is really big because of the glycemic index concept.
Well, is everything raw though, or are you suggesting? My understanding was you still can cook.
Absolutely, and it's not raw.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not raw. Some of it is raw. So eating raw salads, yeah, you don't want. We're not going to advocate you cook your salad, but so a lot. It's natural. So eating salads, eating whole fruits, eating bananas, eating the fruit, eating the berries, and one of the sixth principle of of this lifestyle is variety. And so eating the colors of the rainbow. So eating, but most of that comes as raw. So we eat raw blueberries and raspberries and fruits. And so there's no initiative to eat only raw, but the initiative is to eat as close to nature as possible.
I see.
So you're not going to eat rice and beans. So beans happen to be very high in protein. One of the highest sources of protein is beans. You're not going to eat raw beans. Okay?
Right.
So
Right.
so some things are appropriate to cook, other things aren't, and that's really the guideline of is it appropriate to cook it or not.
Yeah. Well, we're going into winter here in Colorado, so the idea of only eating raw and cold foods all winter doesn't work for me really. But anyway, okay. So I wanted to now go talk a little bit about the Radiant Health Dialogues event that's coming up. So I'm going to show the poster, and I'm actually going to hide me so it's bigger. And so, Peter, if you could.
Kathy, we lost your audio also, along with your video. There
Okay.
you are.
Well, you can talk. We didn't lose your audio.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
can go ahead and talk to the poster.
Talk to the poster.
Well, explain the
I understand what you mean. I
Okay.
have this. Well, the poster represents the doctors that are part of the summit, and actually everyone except for one person on there is a doctor. One person is a licensed dietitian who understands and advocates for nutrition through whole foods and plant-based lifestyle. You know, one doctor, we have Dr. Neal Barnard, who's on the top row in the white coat. That's Dr. Barnard, who's one of the original heroes of this movement, and he is the leader of PCRM, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, with the most amazing initiatives. On your right, looking at Dr. Barnard, so in the upper right-hand corner, we have Dr. Chris Miller, and I mentioned before about doctors who have reversed lupus, and so she's done that. She's reversed lupus, and her, you know, these doctors in our summit, let me say, is a lot more than just about food. It's lifestyle, and we'll bring you samplings of different aspects of lifestyle. But Chris Miller, Dr. Miller's topic is about stress and the importance of stress management. And with her and lupus, that happens to be a really big part. So eating the right food. So it's not just food, but stress management. So when we say lifestyle, it is other things also. And Chris Miller, that's one of the things that she's talked about with us a couple different times is about stress management. Then on the other side of Dr. Barnard is Dr. Douillard, and he'll talk about breathing and the importance of breathing. Dr. Roxanne George, on the upper left-hand corner, she's a pediatrician, and she also happens to be the doctor who interviews everybody else. So this summit is brought to you. It's about doctors. It's the perspective of doctors. Everything that we do is evidence scientific based. And so we have a doctor having a conversation with other doctors. And that's Roxanne George. Below Roxanne is one of the three couples that we actually have in the summit. And it's just so beautiful to see couples where both people are doctors, and they do their work passionately together, and that's just such a beautiful thing to see. Dr. Chawlas, and they're in Houston, and they have a lifestyle medicine center. So and all these doctors, and when they have an opportunity to have a lifestyle medicine practice, then that's different from the traditional Western medicine doctor's visits. So you go to lifestyle medicine doctor, and they're not limited to 8 minutes to look at the diagnosis and look at the blood work and write a prescription for a pill. They do look at diet, they look at nutrition, they look at lifestyle, so all the other aspects of lifestyle, and they're present to quarterback one's journey through changing lifestyle and living a healthier life. Next to them is Greg Feinsinger, Dr. Feinsinger, who's been very influential in my journey and my work. He's our medical advisor. He's now retired, and he spends a lot of time in free consultations and working with people who are curious about lifestyle as medicine and cannot afford to see doctors. You know what? And I could go on and on with everybody else, but this would take a little bit too long. So let me just say then, on the other end of the poster, we have another couple, and they're Canadian. So this is international. They're Canadian, and they've talked about oil and how to cook successfully without oil, for example. Just to highlight a couple other people, we have people who talk about loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves. So it's not just nutrition, but it's really we do this to love ourselves and take care of ourselves. Just real quickly, another couple, they're actually naturopaths, and they're really big on lifestyle medicine. And then we also have Dr. Riz, who's a vascular surgeon and practicing vascular surgeon, and he talks about how in his practice it's not just the surgery, but he really works to get people to understand the importance of lifestyle for health. And I could go on and on, but I really think that I'd love for our audience here, I would love for you to take the time to sample, if you can't see all of these doctors and all these interviews, at least sample it, see some of them, and they'll be up live, and see who resonates for you, see who has the message that will make just even a little tweak in your lifestyle for health. And there's such amazing information out there, and wonderful people who really care about making you be healthier and thrive. And as Dr. Furman says, we're meant to live long and die fast. So we're all working for that.
Well, I love the idea that this is proactive and it's empowering people. That's why I think it's such a good match with Conscious Business Zone, because usually conscious business owners are putting so much effort on their employees and their customers, and they aren't taking very good care of themselves. And our culture is fast everything, fast food, fast everything. But what this does is it allows you to maybe prepare a little bit more, but have better quality foods. Peter, I want to ask real quick, and hopefully this isn't a can of worms, but about GMO versus organic versus, is there any consensus from these doctors about organic food?
Yes, and you know what, I remember I attended a talk with Dr. Furman where he was talking to an audience, and at the end of his talk, somebody asked him that exact question. And his answer was, and it looked like I know it was a great question, and it is a great question. Thank you for asking it. And I could see that in his response, and it was also a question he wasn't used to answering. And he thought about it for a minute. He said, you know, I always eat organic. Anytime it's possible, my preference is, and certainly organic is much better. But he pondered it for a second, and he says, you know, what's really interesting, that all this research all this evidence is done without distinction for organics.
Oh,
So organics is huge. It's really important, but yet we can have all these benefits even without them.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I asked is I worked on a project to get labeling for GMO for Colorado.
Right.
And I worked a lot on it, and we failed because, again, we didn't have the advertising budget.
Right.
But I just wondered, and everything is being critiqued at this point of on truthfulness and honesty.
Absolutely.
So you don't even know if things are really organic or, there's
Absolutely.
stuff out.
I would add my observation. So absolutely, and beyond the fact that, organics means that it's cleaner and less chemicals and everything else. But one thing I've noticed is that, all the GMOs, and Monsanto has created all these GMOs and they own the patents to most of it. So somehow they thought that they should take over from God as to who owns the food supply. But what's really fascinating beyond that is that Bayer pharmaceutical company, Bayer, the pharmaceutical industry, has bought Monsanto. The pharmaceutical industry that has a mission to propagate drugs is now controlling the food supply also, and I hope they don't get to really do it, but that's the path that it's all on. Is the Bayer who was, from what I understand, behind some of the genocide in World War II and the atrocities and the Holocaust. They have now stepped into owning Roundup and GMOs and the food supply. So when just that concept in itself is scary. So yeah, we want to stay away from the pesticides and the chemicals, and nobody can improve on Mother Nature. And to think that GMOs, we can redesign Mother Nature, I think that's a silly idea.
Well, I don't have a problem with people creating new species of fruit by grafting trees together. There's lots of things that have been done for millions of years. That's how you get better wine. I mean, there's lots of that you can do, but the idea of it where it's genetic instead of just our more natural way is what I didn't like. And I wanted to have labeling that told me whether or not, and I think a lot of companies went ahead and did it. If you go to Whole Foods, you'll see aisles and aisles where people have labels that say non-GMO. So it did cause something to happen. We didn't get what we wanted. So
well, and the way to get what we want, and if I may, it's really by voting with our dollars, and that just goes really deep. And the foods that the food companies bring us, whether it's GMO and otherwise, it's really they're really there to make a dollar and to make profits. And they also have their marketing department, their product development department that's really looking at what is it that we can sell the customer, what is it that the customer wants. So when we buy the healthy stuff, they'll bring us more of it. GMOs, we have more and more non-GMO fruits and products on the shelves because it made sense for them to do it for us. So it's important from that perspective too. It's important to support GMO and keep buying the healthier stuff and keep watching these grocery stores bringing us more and more of the healthy stuff because they want to respond to making a buck, and they'll make a buck giving us what we're asking for.
Right, that's good. So I want to show the poster again, and I want to explain that I think you would have to read 10 books or more to get the information you can get by watching this summit for free. And each one of these people a lot of them are international internationally renowned. I mean, really, you just went over, glossing over the people, but these people have generously given of themselves to do these challenges and to do these interviews because they're passionate about helping us be empowered to make the best decisions. And I just want to put in my 2 cents that I think this opportunity won't happen that often because they're too busy. I mean, just even scheduling them to do these interviews, they're doing it. They're in the field, doing the work, standing in their truth, and they want to help more people know about it. So I just want to let my audience know that this is a great opportunity to find this information out, and it's in little 45-minute pieces, so it's not like you have to stay all day sitting at your desk. You could watch a couple a day, and you got to the end of the month to watch them, right, Peter?
Absolutely. So it will be up free for the whole month, and of course we want to make them available forever. So anybody who'd like to own them will have some special offers on being able to purchase them. But they are free. They're free for till the end of the month. They'll premiere starting this Friday, and if you or you know anybody who's concerned about breast cancer or about any other chronic disease and would like to see the alternative to it, the healing for it, the way to avoid it, you really owe yourself to check out what these doctors have to say.
Right. And I think what you'll find is that their caring, nurturing aspect, they're not, these doctors are right there with you. They're not, it's not necessarily professorial engagement. It's really real people talking to real people. Absolutely. About what's possible if you want to be empowered and live and share your gifts at the highest level.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful opportunity. I'm so honored to have this opportunity to bring it to everybody, and I'm always honored to be working with these doctors. They're such magnificent people. They share so willingly. Dr. Feinsinger happens to be retired. The other ones are still working, and Dr. Feinsinger also sees patients, sometimes patients who can't afford medical advice, and he'll do it for free. So these doctors are all working, and every one of them will always take on an opportunity to talk in the community or to talk to the public or to talk globally. They're passionate about this message, and they're passionate about everybody's health, and
yes,
they want to see people thriving.
And some of them have offered free gifts over and above. Some of them, once you discover them, you'll see they have YouTube channels. So we're really hoping that we're showcasing their work so that they're new resources for you as you go through your decisions of what's best for you and how you can live a vital, loving, happy, kind life. Right?
Absolutely. Yep, well put, Kathy. Thank you. That's absolutely. And our hope, our mission is to introduce you to this, and then you see somebody who resonates for you, sample them, find the ones who resonate for you, and dive deeper with them. And there's so many resources. There's so many wonderful doctors, and this is a sampling. And if you're looking for a new doctor, if you're looking for a doctor who really gets prevention, or for a doctor who really gets things beyond prescriptions and procedures, we want to introduce you to the fact that you have huge amounts of opportunities and choices out there.
Right. It's kind of the bridge between energy medicine and traditional medicine. And this along with any kind of medicine could really be the thing your body needs to heal itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone, please go to radianthealthdialogues.com and sign up. And once you sign up, you'll get a free gift, and you'll get access starting October 16th through the 18th to all of the summit participants, all of the conversations. And then once you're in, you have access to the end of the month. And we really hope that this will be the turning point for you and your family and your loved ones to have the energy and withstand the stress of what we're going through right now. This is a perfect time to look at everything in your life, to see how you add more things to love yourself in a positive way. So Peter, any other things for them to know so they can know what you?
Well, there's probably a million other things.
Oh, okay.
But I think specifically for now, just please join us at radianthealthdialogues.com starting Sunday. Sign up now. Go to radianthealthdialogues.com. Sign up for our emails. We'll keep sending you information, and then once you sign up, we'll have lots more for you. It's our mission to help guide you to the real resources for health.
Yes, great. Well, thank you, Peter, so much, and thank you for doing all this work to get this knowledge out to everyone, and thank you for making it free and easy to digest. And I can't wait to watch all of them. But I guess I won't be eating popcorn when.
Well, at least not buttered popcorn.
Oh well.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Kathy, and thank you everybody for watching. And I look forward to seeing you at the summit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Really
Bye,
appreciate
Peter.
you. Thank you.